Hey guys, it's Thane with Thrive and Peak here. Today I want to cover something specific. Something for those who grew up a bit too fast, right? Those who had to be their own adult in their life, so to speak. And I'm not saying you had to do that without the presence of adults, but I'm saying in the sense of metaphorically you had to be your own adult because that was your only option, you know. And a lot of people you carry that archetype. That archetype exists a lot in childhood, right? Especially if you have siblings, because sometimes you have to be the parent for your siblings. And that's not really a foreign aspect. It's just kind of what we do as a society almost. And as a human being, when you go through something, you can help someone else, especially someone as close to you as a sibling. When you're in that adolescence period as well, you want to do the right thing and help those people. I say all that to just bring some attention and some clarity to sometimes when you're in that mode of, hey, I'm looking out for this, or I'm the adult and I'm dependable, I'm responsible, I show these traits. Um, Sometimes that looks responsible, that looks mature, but in reality, you're in survival mode, and at certain times of your life, you might not even recognize that you're in that mode. Um, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with, hey, I've been performing, I've been providing, I've been doing this, so now I need to do X, Y, and Z even furthermore to kind of even prove my point, if that makes sense, right? As children, we kind of go out and seek those extra responsibilities, right? It feels good to help. It feels good to be involved. That's why you have toddlers wanting to help their mom and dad cook, or when kids are older, they want to help read to their youngers or whatever, like want to help feed them, want to be involved and help. I think as a species, we've always connected with the sort of sense of tribe, right? And that in doing that with tribe, just being included and being that type of worker and collaborative effort that um, entices you to want to be involved in that. So that's why sometimes it happens in certain circumstances to where kids will want to be involved and want to take that extra responsibility, not because they feel like it's needed, but because they want to. It feels good to help, right? Um, but growing up too fast can change your identity in totality, right? Um, Growing up too fast, our brains are developing during those periods of our life. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge aspect of things, because you have a hard time growing out of the space of feeling needed or feeling like you are doing something wrong when you are putting yourself first, and so on and so forth, right? I say all that to say this because, like I touched on a little bit earlier, people happen to sometimes admire your strength, but they fail to recognize the cost that it has, um, the cost that it takes, right? The toll that takes on your, I don't necessarily want to say life, but it can be life, depending on how far you are into it. Um, you may struggle to rest without guilt. That's one that I can kind of attest to. I dealt with that. Sometimes I still deal with it. It really depends. It's a day by day basis on this channel, but resting without guilt is another big part of it, right? Um, because you're like, hey, there's worse out there, or hey, I can always be doing this, so on and so forth. You can you can become you can become emotionally isolated, right? Because being the strong one often means that no one really checks on you because you spend your time checking on others, right? And the older I get, the more I get at recognizing that. I'm better at recognizing burnout in myself. Um, I think I'm kind of getting like, depending on my closeness with the person or familiarity with the person. Closeness isn't a word, but depending on my familiarity with the person, I can kind of even recognize burnout with them, and so on and so forth. So that's just a useful skill to go ahead and recognize these things of, and I'm not saying you only get burnt out when you grow up too young, but I'm just saying these are telltale signs that you can kind of help assess the situation, right? um, And I think a big part of that healing is it means learning who you are. It's who you are. You are who you are, not what you can carry. Does that make sense? You do not have to earn love through suffering or usefulness. You have already earned it by just being here. Love is the strongest foundation in the planet, on the world. You know what I mean? And the closer that we are as a species to recognize that, the closer we are to kind of hearing each other out, right? Some of us were called strong when we really needed was help. And healing starts when we stop confusing survival with peace. And that's the gist of it, really. I'm kind of getting some thoughts together. I'm kind of going to change some stuff up. I just appreciate you guys being here, and let me know what you guys think in the comments about what I can do in the future.